Dumb Money is the incredible true story about how your average day-to-day person made life-changing money at the expense of the 1%. The movie was shot in a way that most people in Hollywood can't comprehend. COVID actually sped up the production process, and the amount of truth behind every scene will shake you to your core. One unique thing that the cast experienced while filming this movie was the way it was shot. Most of the actors hadn't experienced a shoot where they were pretty much the only actor on set for a week.
It's so fast and seamless that it kind of, it even fools me.
It was shot in this super compartmentalized way that even the actors thought everything in the movie was playing out simultaneously.
It's kind of like everyone was the star of their own little movie.
Everyone was number one on their own little call sheet, and they pretty much just had an entire week to themselves to shoot the film.
The whole movie was about them, It's funny, but we all are the stars of the movie.
This movie was also born at the height of the COVID pandemic, which added to the unique experience of bringing this movie from the page to the screen. Literally, though, from the page. This film was based on the book The Antisocial Network by Ben Mesrick. It all started in Canada, where director Craig Gillespie had a ton of downtime to just surf the web when everything was locked down during the pandemic.
I was living this whole experience. I was on the front lines watching, and
he was so interested in the story, he found himself on every Reddit board and devoured every news article he could find that was covering it. Until he received a phone call from his friend Kevin, who works at the studio he has a deal with.
He said, "I think there's a movie here."
Which brings me to our next point. This was one of the fastest ideas brought to studios in Hollywood history. The process of finding the film's idea, getting ownership of the intellectual property that created the narrative, and getting it greenlit by his team was a process that took only 3 days. Craig Gillespie knew that everyone in Hollywood would eat this story up given the opportunity. So the real task in his mind was to get it going before anyone else could.
And if we were able to collect the right team, we might be able to beat everybody else.
It wasn't a difficult task getting everyone involved. Rebecca Angelo and Lauren Schuker Blum were immediately captivated by the narrative and were brought on as both executive producers and screenwriters.
He said the words, I think, GameStop, Ben Mesrick, movie, and we were in, pretty much.
Shailene Woodley had a great time on the set of this film, though the irony of her history and knowledge, or really lack thereof, of finance and investing was not lost on her.
I have taken classes on investments. I have listened to friends for hours about investing.
She even listened to nearly 30 hours of investment YouTube videos, trying to retain an ounce of this information, with all of her efforts to get a handle on, essentially, exactly what this movie is about. She just couldn't. It's safe to say that Shailene is not a method actor when it comes to characters knowledgeable about how day trading and hedge funds work.
Like, my brain was not built for mathematics or this world whatsoever.
Paul Dano, who plays the protagonist in the film, Keith Gill, really honed in on the transparency that he believes represented his success. He believes Keith's honesty and straightforwardness with the public made the whole phenomenon happen.
He's real. You see the difference between these other guys and him.
It was that realness he was trying to embody when he was bringing his character to life. Especially at the time in particular, politicians were rubbing the general public the wrong way. So Keith was like a breath of fresh air.
They're politicians. Like, he was being totally real even in the testimony, I felt.
Something the cast had a lot of fun with when it came to this movie was learning about everything that was actually real. A lot of the things on screen you might think were falsified for the drama, like the whole pig storyline, but you'd actually be surprised.
A pet pig that lived in their house for about 10 years, I think it was, until it got too big to be at the mansion, and they put it out on a farm.
And Gabe Plotkin, the hedge fund guy Seth Rogen plays, actually has so much money, it's wild. Dude bought not only one, but 2 mansions, side by side.
On the waterfront in Miami, and tear down one of them to build a tennis court for his family.
I mean, good for him, but man. And the real Kevin Gill, the one played by Pete Davidson, really did run a mile, fully nude during a lightning storm. The cast had a lot of real life to pull from when bringing us this movie. So, who's bummed out they didn't get in on this GameStop trend during the pandemic? It's clear by the amount of passionate creators behind the film that this was not only a cultural phenomenon, but something that continues to have a lasting effect on our society. and the monetary value we place on things as a whole. What was your favorite part of this story?